Hi, and welcome back for the final video in this Midnight Hour series. I invite you to use this series in Bible studies or educational settings as you wish. We've been focusing on 3 gifts given to the bride of Christ at her midnight hour in age-to-age timekeeping. But because we've been discussing the 12 midnight hour references, it's the 8th day in age-to-age timekeeping that has been our primary focus. Now today I want to summarize the overall themes associated with midnight in Scripture, and then I'd like to end this series with the theme of watchfulness. Okay, so let's run through them quickly. A man knocks on a door and asks for 3 loaves of bread at midnight, and he's given everything he needs. But then when 5 foolish maidens ask for extra oil in their lamps, 5 wise maidens deny their request. It's a theme that centers on a shortage of bread and a shortage of oil, but it's met with either benevolence or selfishness, and selfishness has disastrous consequences. And then we're introduced to Samson, who pulls up city gates at midnight, and he changes the direction and the elevation of the gates. But also we're introduced to fishermen who change from casting nets on the left side of the boat to casting nets on the right side of the boat. And this elevates their nighttime fishing attempts from an empty net to a full net. The theme is a directional change which elevates a spiritual purpose. Now at midnight also, a woman swaps her dead baby for another woman's living baby. And at midnight, Eutychus tumbles from a 3rd-story window, and he is picked up dead. But Eutychus was declared to be alive. And so we have this theme that is an exchange of death for life. And then at midnight, Ruth asks Boaz to be her kinsman redeemer, and he agrees to marry her, but not until the morning. Also, at midnight, we have sailors who drop anchors. But they also waited until morning, until all the passengers exited away from the boat and swam to safety on dry land. So the theme here is waiting until morning to fulfill action that actually happens at midnight. The children of Israel were set free after a plague of death at midnight while Pharaoh's government topples. And Paul was set free after an earthquake at midnight, after the earthquake shakes the foundation of the Roman prison in which he was held. Now the theme here is a divine intervention to secure freedom from oppressive systems that do not want to let go of the power that they have over others. Now a new midnight hour reference is in Psalm 119. We hear another repeated midnight theme, sleeping to waking. It reads, "At midnight I rise to praise you because of your righteous precepts." And then in Job 34, we hear the repeated theme of life and death. At midnight, great and small shall suddenly pass away, removed by no human hand. Now that leads me to the final midnight hour reference in Mark 13:35, where we hear the repeated theme of watchfulness. It's in several locations throughout the Scripture. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know when the owner of the house will come back, whether it is in the evening or at midnight, or when the rooster crows, or at dawn. Notice the 4 times mentioned: evening, midnight, pre-dawn, and dawn, all after the time of Jesus. All 12 of the midnight hour references in Scripture were written in micro 24-hour timekeeping, and all 12 references foreshadow the midnight hour in macro age-to-age timekeeping. The difference between the 2 clocks is this. The 24-hour clock speaks to our individual perspective of microtime and the need for personal watchfulness and readiness. But the macro age-to-age clock speaks to the entire human race and the need for our species to be watchful and ready. Now, the midnight hour turning point in age-to-age timekeeping is a slow, very slow process that demands microtime watchfulness. The process involves a transition right in the middle of a 600-year time period. Prior to midnight, many people will leave the waning age of Pisces and enter the waxing age of Aquarius. And after midnight, those who remain in the waning age of Pisces will gradually assimilate into the waxing age of Aquarius. Now, these dates and times are approximate and generalized as the Earth slowly moves through her precession of the equinoxes, out of the constellation of Pisces and into the constellation of Aquarius. So here we are. It's 2025, and the closer that we get to 2100, again, an approximate, our species will experience an acceleration, a pull into the age of Aquarius at a pretty good clip, while simultaneously experiencing a pressured push out of the age of Pisces. This is the process we should be familiar with. It's labor, it's birth, it's delivery, followed by the pushing out of an afterbirth. It fits the theme of an exchange of death for new life. Okay, so for this reason, humanity is experiencing, and I think most of us feel it, we're experiencing a spiritual tug of war right now between those who are being called forward into the waxing age of Aquarius and those who are desperately clinging to the life they are losing during the waning age of Pisces. And this tug of war fits the theme of changing directions, elevating a spiritual purpose, and securing freedom from past oppressors who do not want to let go of having power over. So transitioning into the waxing age and out of a waning age is measured by design. Change must be managed incrementally. Change that occurs too fast or too slow may cause unnecessary social chaos. So here we are. We're at the midnight hour. We're in the zone. Midnight occurs at the point at which the waxing age of Aquarius slowly overtakes the waning age of Pisces. Is our species being watchful at this midnight hour? Or are we convinced that God is dead, or God is ancient myth, or God is an unnecessary figment of human imagination? Well, I can leave you with this assurance. Humanity has not been forgotten or abandoned. The human spirit is being led and guided faithfully through an 8th day of time. And as we enter the waxing age of Aquarius, we will enter the time of the good soil. To the one who conquers, Jesus says, I will give the morning star. Let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. Thanks for listening.